welcome back to A Ride in the Country. It's been a minute, hasn't it? I'm Cliff Fawcett, your host. It is April, and I'm finally back on the bike, back at home in Ohio. I have missed you guys, and I'm so excited to be back. So it's a beautiful day. It's a bonus day. I didn't know I was going to be off today. Yesterday, at about 4 o'clock, the secretary's leaving, and she says, "Have a nice Easter." And I'm like, "What? I'll be here tomorrow." She's like, "You're going to be here by yourself because there's nobody here tomorrow. We're closed." And I was like, "Oh." So I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but Good Friday is a holiday. So, bonus day. That's awesome. So what's been going on, you might ask? Here is the topic of today's video. So I needed to get new tires for my bike, and man, it has been a process. So I wanted to do a video on how to purchase motorcycle tires for the first time. So many of you know, you've been following my channel, you know that I'm in my 50s and I just started riding a couple years ago. And so this is the first time I've had to buy motorcycle tires. Never had to buy them before. So, you know, when you're new, it's a little intimidating, and you're not quite sure what to do. You're not sure how to make the decision. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through what I did. And if you're going to buy tires for your bike, maybe this will be helpful for you. Now, a couple of disclaimers. I have a dual sport. So if you ride a road bike, might be different. I don't know. I don't ride a road bike, so I'm not sure. Second thing, I'm not sure I did the right thing, but you know, I did the best I could. So yeah, so we'll see how it turns out. So I started out, you know, you're in a motorcycle shop and you're looking around and you're like, "Oh, look at those tires." Huh? And you're like, "Oh, I don't know the size I need." So, you know, I go back home and I look at the size and figure that out. So that's the first thing you need to figure out. What size do you need? And on my bike, I have a 21-inch front and an 18-inch rear. The front is a 3x21, which sometimes is called, I think, a 90-90. I'll write it on the screen here if that's wrong. And then my rear tire, I think it's something like I'm not even going to say. I'll just put it on the screen. I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I love Itchy Boots. You guys know I love Itchy Boots. So I'm watching Itchy Boots, and she's like, "I love the Dunlop D606s." So I'm like, "Oh, I got to get the Dunlop D606 because that's what Itchy Boots likes." Okay. So I start looking around for it. Can't find it anywhere. Nobody has them. So then I go back to the motorcycle shop and I'm looking, and so I finally go and I ask the guy, I'm like, "Hey, do you guys do tires? Like, I see tires back there, but like, do you mount them? Because I don't know how to mount a tire." He's like, "Well, it depends. What do you have?" So I told him, and he's like, "Oh, well, we don't do spoke tires." I'm like, "Oh, well, I have spokes, so I guess you don't do mine." So I said, "Well, what do people with spokes do?" And he's like, "Well, I recommend this guy." So he recommended a local guy, and so I went and saw that guy, and I'm like, "Okay, hey, you know, looking for tires for my bike." And so he's like, "Well, what do you want?" I told him I want the Dunlop 606s, and he's like, "Okay, I'll give you a call." So he gives me a call, and I think he wanted like almost $600 for 2 tires installed. And I'm like, that just seems like way too much to me. Like I can see the tires, like I'm looking them up on RevZilla, you know, Rocky Mountain Moto, and most of the tires that I'm looking at are like, you know, 100, 130, you know, and I just don't get, you know, where you come up with almost $600. So I kept watching videos. You know, I watched the videos like RevZilla Buyer's Guide for Tires. You guys know, because you probably watch those too. And anyway, oh, I forgot to say this. The guy, he couldn't find the D606, so he said, "I got D605s. Well, I read about them on the internet, and people are like, they're soft and they don't last as long and they're not as aggressive, and you know, I ride mostly on the road, but I do like to ride off-road, and I don't want to compromise the off-road. So I would much rather have a rough tire on the pavement and have good traction off-road. So I really wanted what they call a 50-50 tire. So it's really like for 50% on-road, 50% off, which is a total compromise, right? It really is. So he couldn't find the ones I wanted, and he wanted way too much. So I held off. And I was like, well, I'll buy them from Revzilla, but then who's going to put them on? So I had heard about a motorcycle shop not too far from me, and it's called Clinton County Motorsports. It's in Wilmington, Ohio. And I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. I'll go down there. So I go down there. And oh my gosh, they are so stinking nice. Like, way nicer than any motorcycle shop I've ever been to. Like, everybody was nice. I walk in, the guy greets me, you know, takes me back to the parts counter. The guy back there is really nice. He's asking me what kind of tires I want, and then they take me back to the service counter, and I talk to the service guy, and everybody is super nice. And so we're looking through what's available, and it looks like there's a Bridgestone tire, which is what I went with. Bridgestone TW, I think it is, TW52 on the back, TW301 for the front. So I took it down there. I took the whole bike, and they removed the old tires and put new ones on. And while they were at it, they checked the spokes to make sure they were torqued properly, checked the rim to make sure it's not out of balance, and everything's cool. So I'm riding on those tires right now, and they're quieter than the ones I had. I'll show you on the screen now a comparison, new to old. So I had the IRCs, I believe they are, that come on the CRF 250L, and these are Bridgestones. The rubber feels a little softer, which I like. It gives me a little more grip. They're quieter. I'm taking it easy because the guy told me first 100 miles you should really take it easy, don't lean too hard on it. And so I'm just taking it easy. My old tires, the original IRCs, I think they are, they lasted, it's about, let's see, I just have about 3,000 miles on my bike. So they probably could have gone longer, but I'd heard so many stories about them not being the best, and I thought, you know, I'd like to get a new set of tires. So I got them, and here's the key. This is what I would say to you. The key is you got to find a shop where they're like, they talk to you and listen to you. And you know, oh, I didn't tell you about the price. Yeah, so they basically charged me for the tires, whatever they were. I think they were 100 and, like I said, 140, 150, something like that, 130. And then they charged me for the installation, and the installation was different if I had them like just dropped off the tires and rims, or if I brought the bike in and they did it. And I just decided to just drop the bike off. I have never taken the tires off of it, and I'm nervous about it, to be honest. I wanted to make sure it was done right, and so they did it. I think it was 170 for the mounting, the balancing. I got new tubes as well. This bike has a tubed tire. So yeah, I think out the door, maybe, I'm gonna guess, I can put the total on the screen. Yeah, let's see how good my guess is, right? I'm not too good at this kind of stuff because it's like my math doesn't ever work out. It always seems cheaper than it really is when I look at the final price. I'm gonna say $450. We'll see. Anyway, I like them. They're quieter, and yeah. So, you know, if you're gonna buy tires, what I would say is make sure you know the size that you need, and go to a reputable shop. Talk to them about how you ride, where you ride, what's important to you. Find out the options, order it, and I just had them put it on. So that's what I did, and you know, you can do you. That's what I did. I hope you liked this video. If you did, you can like it down below, subscribe, and remember, if you want to go for a ride in the country, but it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too dark, come join me on YouTube, where it's always nice for a ride in the country.